Okay. Well, I think that we're live now. So, welcome and hello, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out and joining us tonight. My name is Amanda Miller, and this is my favorite thing to do out of the whole year when I get to sit and experience this evening with you. So, thank you so much for coming out tonight. We would love to see your names and just where you're joining us from in the chat if you want to drop that in. We'd love to be able to just personally send you gratitude for spending time with us because we're really about community at EFT Universe, and getting to see your name and knowing where you are in the world is important. So I'll give you just a minute to do that. And I would also love to just get to know a little bit about you through this process because tonight we're here to talk all about certification, right? I would love to know if you've had any great insights as you've come to the point that brought you here tonight. Have you read about our certification and any questions that you have? We are at different intervals throughout this webinar going to pause and answer some of your questions. Hopefully, with what we have prepared to just share with you, we'll answer a lot of those. And just to let you know, if we do get to the end of the webinar and we haven't yet answered your question, don't worry. You'll have the opportunity to book a call with one of our certified practitioners. I'm one of the people that's taking calls this year. I usually do because, again, it's something that I just love doing. But also, you can write us into support. There's a lot of different ways that we can still get in contact with you. This is not your only chance. But go ahead and just drop in the chat, start dropping in your questions, sharing your experiences. How did you hear about us? Why are you here tonight? All of that will help shape what we get to experience together. I will give you just kind of an idea of how tonight is going to go, and then we'll jump right into it. I will say that given the weight of the world, this is one of the best times to get involved with EFT. People are looking for the solutions that this particular practice can offer. So I'm really excited for you to get to hear that. You will hear a course outline of what you will get in the ultimate EFT certification. And it is unique. It is different than other certifications out there. It's why I chose to be a part of this group. You will hear from our Director of Education, Kurt Anderson, and so much from Dr. Dawson Church as well. He's going to be the main speaker of this evening. And somewhere in there, I will also share with you how to enroll. So we'll share a link. You'll know all the steps and able to do that. And then all of the details of costs and everything. So you will get all of those answers here tonight. Now, before I bring in the big man, I just want to share some facts about him with you that you may or may not know about him. Dr. Church is the author of multiple best-selling books. You may have heard of Genie in Your Genes or Bliss Brain. And he also founded the National Institute of Integrative Healthcare, also known as NIIH. And the NIIH's largest program is the Veteran Stress Solution, which if you haven't heard of that, it's really incredible to check out. It has offered free treatment, so free EFT treatment to over 22,000 veterans with PTSD. This is just a small snippet of showing how truly driven by passion to give practical solutions to people to help ease suffering the Dr. Church is. He has also shared the stage with some top transformational leaders of our time, Joe Dispenza, Marianne Williamson, Tony Robbins, Donna Eden, Dave Asprey, Jack Canfield. I could go on and on. He's also played a role in over 100 scientific studies of energy psychology and EFT. And twice he's been invited to testify before the U.S. Congressional Committee. As CEO of EFT Universe, he manages the largest and most popular EFT training, and you'll know why by the end of tonight, the biggest certification organization in the world. We've trained over 5,000 practitioners and counting. One of the key things that I love to brag about, and you'll hear more about this in just a minute, but the training that Dr. Church has created has set such high standards. I'm so excited. My lips are getting ahead of my brain. that EFT Universe training is accredited for continuing education for medical and mental health professionals through the American Medical Association and the American Psychological Association. And those energy therapies are in primary care settings like the Veterans Administration and Kaiser Healthcare System. So with all of that bragging, I give to you Dr. Dawson Church.
Amanda, thank you so much. And I'm so grateful to be here today and sharing with everyone. One of our core values at EFT Universe is community. And by being here, you are part of that wonderful community. So welcome. It's great to be here. I so look forward to events like this where we can affirm that value and connect with each other. And I'll be happy to answer your questions. We'll have a period for questions and answers with me, with EFT Universe's Education Director, Kurt Anderson, and others. And again, you can book a call with an admissions advisor and ask questions yourself later on if they aren't answered on the call. But this is a wonderful way to affirm both what we do and why we do it. I also reflect how EFT practice has changed so much over the last couple of decades. Like when I first got into EFT around 2000, it was regarded as the fringe of the fringe. If the fringe had a fringe, that would have been EFT. And so now, as I hear Amanda reminding us all about the American Medical Association and about the American Psychological Association and the Veterans Administration approval for clinical EFT, of Kaiser Permanente, the biggest healthcare system in the US, approving it, National Health Service in Britain, in the United Kingdom. There are a number of websites where they advocate EFT. So it's very, very different from the way it was 20 years ago when we were the fringe of the fringe. And I remember talking to a practitioner recently. She said, I get this constant stream of referrals, happy clients telling other clients who come to me, and they get happy too, and tell other clients. And you know what, Dawson? Most of my clients are doctors, MDs, because I shared it with my MD, and he shared it with a friend of his, and she shared it with a friend of hers. And so she has a thriving practice, mostly of doctors coming to her, and then referring patients and other doctors as well. Also, I remember when people who did these kinds of therapies, especially EFT, would regard them as being so fringe that they couldn't charge very much. I remember one friend of mine was agonizing around 2008. I was tapping with her because she said, Dawson, I'm considering raising my price of my services from $50 an hour to $75 an hour. And she said, I'll lose all my clients. I'm worried about this. So I was tapping with her on this. I went on her website a while back. It's now $350 an hour to book a session with her, and she has a wait list and a full practice. So people are confident now, and clients are happy to reimburse our practitioners because of the effectiveness of the services they provide. We also have people working in hospitals and in clinics. We have people working in the Cleveland Clinic. We have people who've done presentations in Johns Hopkins. We have people who do sessions in Kaiser Permanente support groups. So there are all kinds of ways in the medical mainstream in which EFT is entering and providing career opportunities for our graduates. So one other factor to bear in mind is only uncertainty in the job world. I know I've been reading about the wave of layoffs in the tech sector recently, and in other sectors like media, finance, retail, hospitality. There are these waves of layoffs. One of the cool things about being a practitioner is you are your own boss, you set your own hours. And in fact, not only is that turmoil not likely to affect you, it actually, we've seen a real rise in the need for mental health services. And so many of our practitioners have had their number of clients rise because of all the uncertainty going on in the world. Research by the American Psychiatric Association showed that during COVID, the demand for mental health treatment doubled. There are a lot of people who are looking for help with their problems, and they turn to EFT because they've heard that it really works. Also, we're just on the cusp of adoption in a much bigger way. A US government report found there's a lag of 17 years between therapy being demonstrated effective in research and it reaching patients and clients in a widespread manner. And so 17-year lag. And we're at that threshold now. We have 20 years of research behind us, and we're now seeing this increase in demand for our services as people are able to share the magic of EFT with others. One woman I talked to, she was really nervous about leaving her corporate job. She had a job in New York running a big women's magazine, and she hated it. Being in a cubicle and high stress and wasn't doing well for her life or her health. She wanted to become a practitioner. She said, I make a six-figure income. How will I possibly equal that as a practitioner? Within a few years, she was making more as a practitioner than she had as a publishing executive. So it's great to see not only professional acceptance shift, but also what our practitioners charge for their services and are receiving for the remarkable gift that they provide to the world. Also, you will find that you find community in EFT Universe. There are all sorts of ways which we foster community. When you're in certification, you're part of this vibrant group of people. They're posting every day on our Facebook group. They're posting comments and questions. They're shouting out to each other when they pass a test or earn rewards or earn a certificate as part of certification. After you graduate, you're part of our practitioner group. And there we do practitioner development calls. We foster community in many different ways. So this isn't just something you do, get certified, and walk away with. It's a community you walk into, becomes part of your emotional and spiritual support system, and that will be part of it till the day you retire or die or wherever you go. You'll find yourself just loving being part of this group of people. They are such dedicated healers, healing professionals. And when you meet them at virtual classes or in-person classes, you'll make friends. You'll find there are these deep personal connections, and it'll foster your own sense of being welcomed and being appreciated by others in this professional group. Also, this certification will challenge you. It'll challenge your views of who you are, and it's going to really knock on the door of some of your personal limitations and old mindsets. One woman at a workshop, she was a clinical social worker and she had a private practice, also some online courses. She had made a lot of money and then lost it all, and then made a lot of money again and lost it all. She'd been through several boom and bust cycles in her professional life and said, what is it? I don't know why. I just can't hold on to the money that I make. And we did some deep digging into her past, and we discovered that she came from a poor family. Most family members were still poor, and she had this unconscious script running in her head that if I get rich, they won't accept me. So she would get rich and then lose it. So there you have this going on over and over and over again with those cycles. And until we discovered that core belief in her subconscious, she wasn't able to shift. Once we did discover that core belief in her subconscious, we tapped it away and she was suddenly free of that limitation she'd had all of her life. And she now could go on to make money without needing to blow it all in a subsequent round and repeat those old patterns. So EFT is also part of my life personally. I tapped this morning. I tapped on things mental and I tapped on things emotional. I also visualized this event now I visualized everyone really getting a lot of value from it, and any resistance to that picture just melting away. So I use tapping myself in my life every day. I've had some huge events in my life to deal with that I've really needed tapping for. I've had some big losses, big tragedies. Many of you know the story I tell in the first chapter of my book, Bliss Brain, about the fire in in 2017. My wife and I went through one of the wildfires that sweeps through California periodically, and we just found ourselves having to rush out of the house to our car as flames were consuming our whole area. 5,000 homes were destroyed. Dozens of people lost their lives that night. Terrible, terrible event. And we needed tapping. We needed tapping. We needed meditation. We needed community. We needed support. And I'm so grateful we had all of that. And it wasn't a miraculous recovery for us. If you read in Bliss Brain, chapter 1, you'll see it was about a year. And we needed therapy. We needed PTSD treatment. We needed friends and we needed other people tapping with us to release all the trauma of that night and all the deaths and all the destruction. But we were resilient because we had that. So I want to encourage you to learn this for yourself and challenge your subconscious assumptions. Become that resilient person before the fire, before the divorce, before the economic crisis, before the financial crash, before the death, before the loss. Be that resilient person. Have these tools at your fingertips. So when you do face life's uncertainty, you had them right there to help you move on through. Amanda, I'd also love to hear a couple of your stories because I know you've used EFT for some really intense issues in your life. So please do share a couple of those with us.
Sure. I'll kind of make it all into one because I feel like it's probably my most impactful story that I can share. I was in my mid-30s. I had a toddler, going through a divorce that was highly stressful. And that was when I learned I had complex PTSD. Now, I had had symptoms of it my whole life. I just didn't know that that's what I was experiencing. I thought I was broken. I thought I was wrong. I thought I was crazy, all of these things that I thought I just had to deal with, for the rest of my life. And it really was getting in the way of my quality of life, to the point of I was so heightened in anxiety and stress that when I would go to the grocery store, my head would immediately start spinning all of these horrible scenarios that were pretty unlikely, but not zero. And I was just so terrified that I was going to choose wrong in the gas station or the grocery store or the day to go here or the thing to get there. And that would end up being a horrible tragedy for me or my daughter. So everything was life and death. Nothing was safe. Not even in my very boring, very safe neighborhood, it locked up in my house. I never felt safe. I was always in this really heightened state. I had heard of tapping before. I had an experience that was not good. The person who I didn't know what it was, she didn't explain it to me. And it actually ended up triggering me deeper. And so I had an aversion to tapping for about 10 years. But then I learned about EFT Universe and Dr. Church through a trusted source. I decided to give it a second try. And so in this state of just absolute heightened state of mind, I flew out to a live workshop, a 5-day workshop. So at this point, I wasn't even enrolled in certification yet. And Dr. Church was teaching it. And there I learned information about how the brain works. I learned that I wasn't broken, that there was hope for me, and that the response that I was having made sense, and that what I needed was the right tools to support myself to get out of that space. And I learned a few of the clinical EFT tools there, and I ate and drank them like they were my life support for the next 4 months. And then I went on a work trip that took me to a foreign country with a language I don't speak. And I was going with a group of people I didn't really know. At one point, I got separated from my group and my phone wasn't working. I didn't really know where I was. I didn't have a way to talk to anybody. And I realized in that moment, I was able to pause and look around me and go, yeah, okay, so this isn't ideal, but I feel safe. The people around me look fine. I kind of know where I am. I can do this. And that was the first time in my life that I ever was able to just live the moment that I was in. And I didn't have to bring all of that baggage from the past with me. So I enrolled in certification. I've never looked back.
Just taking a deep breath over here and really letting the emotional impact of your story sink in, Amanda. Yeah. I just love hearing stories of how it changes people's lives. And we hear these constantly. We work with people every day. I know when I finish a work day and I've worked with people, I've done a group call and worked with a volunteer, I leave that work day feeling absolutely blessed and high. Blessed to be doing this and high just at the privilege of sharing this method with people and seeing that, witnessing that healing before my very eyes. Often people healing in ways they never believed they could. So they come to you with their stories about how it's impossible. Well, it can't work for me. I've tried everything else, and it works. It's just a remarkable thing to have in your life. So one of the reasons it works so well, clinical EFT is proven in over 200 clinical trials. And what we have is a set of techniques, 48 clinical EFT techniques, and they really work. They're proven to work. They're validated in all that research. And if you learn these 48 clinical EFT techniques systematically in certification, you'll know how to apply them all. That's why it takes a year. It takes a year. You have to spend several hours a week focused on it, just the way you would if you were getting a degree or you were taking a college class. It's set up a lot like an academic class, although a lot of fun and a lot of personal interaction as well. And you're learning those 48 clinical EFT techniques. And I remember one student who was about to have her first real client. And she was so nervous and she was posting in the Facebook group about how nervous she was, and like, oh no, I've sat through the classes and practiced with the students, but now this is a real client. What do I do? And we said, just use your training and it'll be fine. Later that day, she came back on the Facebook group and said, I used the techniques and they worked. Who knew? 200 clinical trials. Clinical EFT really works. And you're getting this wonderful science-proven method when you're trained with EFT Universe in those 48 clinical EFT techniques. If you don't have those techniques, what do you do? What do you do when you're working with a client who is seeing you for money coaching? And you start to suspect that they have PTSD. What do you do if you are working with a client on sports performance and they just can't get past certain barriers, certain performance levels that they've been stuck at for a long time? You need these 48 clinical EFT techniques for all kinds of difficult situations and challenging clients. And you'll get those in the certification course. So one of the things I just want to mention as an aside is we are offering a new special class, a new special workshop, public workshop in a few days. And it is on this most difficult of issues, which is preverbal prenatal PTSD. What happens when those insults, when those deficits were laid down early in childhood, maybe even in the womb, maybe before the development of language? What do you do then? There are specialized clinical EFT techniques that'll help and can release that. You've got to know them. We'll demonstrate them in this public event coming up. It's going to be on April the 29th. And so please do join us live for that. There won't be a replay. This is designed to be a live event where we demonstrate these techniques live. You'll see us using them with people. You'll even be looking for issues in your own life to work on and tapping along with us. I know, Amanda, you worked with a group of girls at one point who were really struggling. And that story moved me so deeply because I think often about what would have happened if those girls hadn't had you and EFT. Please share that with us.
Yeah, absolutely. I call it my summer of young women because they didn't know each other, but I suddenly found about 80% of my clientele were young women in their late teens, very early 20s. And this was around the time when we were starting to realize that the pandemic was sticking around, that this wasn't going to be over in just a few months. And they all were circling around the same theme of what's the point? Why bother with life if this is not what I have dreamt about, and now I'm here and I can't have the life that I wanted. So I'm just done. They were giving up, they were grieving, they were frustrated, and all of them used language that was circling around like suicidal ideation. None of them were at the point of like, I'm planning this, I'm intending to do that. But there were signs of things there. And I was so grateful to have and I was fresh out of certification too. This is my first summer after being certified. And I was so grateful to have had all of the practice that I had to have in order to graduate, because I knew this was the type of client I wanted to sit in front of, because I knew that had been me. And I knew what it had done to change my life. And my biggest fear was to sit in front of someone, have them expressing these things to me, and me not know what to do, and me pausing and freezing and saying, I'm so sorry, but what do I do now? That didn't happen once. I had an abundance of tools that I could turn to, and it turned out the best it possibly could. They all fired me, and not in a bad way. Each of them within 6 sessions or less went from complete devastation and not seeing any hope for their future to feeling really positive and bright and empowered again to go forward. And a couple of them keep in touch, and they're doing great.
That is wonderful to hear. And when that is your day, when your days look like that, when your days look like work with people and seeing them shift. And I also think about the future those girls might have had they not had you, had they not had EFT. So it's wonderful to both be in the position to offer that to people and to see the results and imagine those lives and those futures that are changed as a result. So I'd like to do a couple of things now. I'm going to answer a couple of the questions that have been posted in comments over here. Natasha, how many active students are in the program at once? Usually there are about 150 per intake in the spring in the US and in the fall, the opposite in the Southern Hemisphere, fall and spring, but usually about 150 per intake. So there are around 300 people in the program at any given moment. Wondering 33, if I can take modules 1 and 2 now, do I have to wait till the next offering in 6 months? Yeah, you have to decide now because we go through the certification as a cohort. We found just based on like 20 years experience training people in EFT, it's much more successful if you go through as a group and support each other as a group than if you go through piecemeal. So you do need to sign up for the enrollment deadline, which this year is May 1st, and then we go through it as a group. If you miss the deadline, you have to wait until the full cohort is there. You can take some of the modules in the meantime if you like to do that as well. So that is an option too. Phone the admissions advisors and then chat with them about those options. Soul frequency 333. I was just really moved by your question, which is that you've been trained in so many modalities and trying to help yourself and creating a career, but I have never been able to achieve this. I can never move forward. We do a lot of tapping with you in certification on blocks. Just for example, blocks charging. People say, well, how can I charge $100 an hour? Right off out of the gate, how can I raise my fees? Am I worth that? So you're going to find that a lot of your insecurities actually do surface in certification. But you have your mentor, you have fellow students, you have swap partners. There are all kinds of ways we will work with you on that. We want to have you release all of those limitations in the year you're getting certified so you go out confidently in both your skills and your ability to make a career, a great living doing this. Just looking at some of the other so Arlene's asking, I am not in the health field at all. I am a yoga instructor and would like to offer other wellness modalities. I'm not in the mental health field. I wonder if I'm qualified enough. And the certification process is complete. That's why it takes a year. That's why you attend live classes either in person or on Zoom. That's why you have a mentor. That's why we have skills practice calls. We're going to give you a thorough training. And by the time we certify you, you know how to do this. Bear in mind, certification is not something you earn. It's something we grant. Think about that for a moment. You aren't earning certification. You're taking the training. We are certifying that you are competent. I, Dawson Church, and EFT Universe, and your mentor and your trainer, we are recommending you for certification only after we're convinced you are good. So the training is designed for people who are either professionals or non-professionals. It is complete, and at the end of that process, we certify you. We sign off on your skills and qualifications. So please feel free to keep posting your questions in the comments box. We'll answer them as we go along. So one thing that I wanted to tap with people on and do a quick tapping session on right now is the distractions from going forward with life, going forward into the future. And I've heard so many people in the last 2 or 3 years say, the world's in such chaos. I don't see a clear way ahead. I met an 89-year-old man recently who's a veteran of the Korean War. And he was saying that it's the worst it's ever been. And I'm thinking, Korean War, Cuban Missile Crisis, has been through all of these upheavals in his life and is, uh, about to enter his 90s. And he says it's worse now than it's ever been. And many people believe that. They think the world is going to hell in a handbasket. If you read my books, Bliss Brain and Mind to Matter, you'll know, if you read the last chapter, that there are many positive trends in the world as well. But this pervasive sense of malaise. I mentioned earlier that referrals to mental health professionals have doubled since COVID. And the World Health Organization finds that rates of depression and anxiety have dramatically gone up all over the place, all over the world in the last few years. So let's do a quick round of tapping on just releasing any hesitation you have in moving forward with your life, with your ability to heal, your ability to be a light in the world to others because of all the ups and downs, all the trauma, all the turmoil in the world right now. So we'll tap along now. Begin by thinking about the news story at this moment that bothers you most. Maybe I'm reading about the violence in the Middle East or the war in Ukraine, or you're reading about the election and abortion rights and all the things that are roiling the public discourse right now. What are those things that are bothering you right now? So tune into those. Now go a layer deeper. You're thinking about those events. Now move into your body. What is your body telling you as you tune into that? Where do you feel it in your body? Is it in your shoulders, tight neck, tension in your chest, gut? Where do you feel the world's trauma right now? Now give that feeling in your body a number, 0 through 10. 10 is a strong feeling. When I think about the war in Ukraine, I feel this just clenching in my gut. Give it a number 0 through 10. And then if you have pen and paper handy or a device, write down your number. We always have people write down their numbers because with clinical EFT, those numbers tend to drop very far and very fast. So let's do some tapping now and keep focused on that sensation in your body. Okay. Start with the side of hand point. And we won't use any words for this. We'll just focus on that physical sensation in your body. Tune into that physical sensation in your body. Now also tune in to your breath, your breathing. We're all safe now. There's no war in our office or living room or wherever we are right now. We're breathing, we're safe. And we're tapping on the psychological reversal point, always the first point we tap on with EFT. And we're tuning into our body and our breath and safety. And there's a ton of research behind why this works, but that's what we're doing now. So feel your breath, notice your body sensation. Now tap on your governing meridian on top of the head. Don't do what a lot of people on YouTube are tapping all around their head. That is guaranteed to miss the point. Tap on the center of your head. That's where that acupuncture meridian flows. And tune into your body again. That sensation in your body. Tune into your breath. Now, you're probably finding yourself breathing a little deeper right now. So it's worth paying attention to that and also your body at the same time. With 2 fingers, tap on your eyebrow point. You can tap on one side or both sides. Keep your eyes open. Notice your breath, open eyes. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Notice your body sensation. Tap on the side of your eye, gallbladder meridian. Notice your breath. Feeling again that specific sensation in your body. Tap under your eyes. Really tune in to that body keeping the score. Where is it keeping the score? And your breath at the same time. Under your nose. And again, that body sensation. How big is it? What color is it? How intense is it now? And your breathing. Kidney meridian under your collarbones. Feel your breath. Under your arms. Tuning back into your body. That body sensation. And the fact you're breathing and you're safe now. And one more time on the side of your hand. Simultaneously noticing you're breathing and safe. And that body sensation. Then we'll do one more clinical EFT technique, very brief one called the floor to ceiling eye roll. Tap on the back of your head in this groove over here. Focus on your body sensation. Keep your head steady, look down at the floor. And then very slowly move your eyes up your center line all the way to where you're looking all the way up at the ceiling. Noticing your breath, slow eye movement, hold at the ceiling, tuning into your body, noticing you're safe, holding your eyes at the ceiling while your head is steady. Okay, good enough. Take a breath. Take a nice deep breath and tune back into your body. And you'll probably find that a lot of your anxiety, a lot of your physical sensations have gone away. If you're inclined to, just put into the comment box your first number, your second number. If you're an 8, you went down to a 2, put there 8, 2. If you're a 9, went down to a 1, put there 9, 1. If you're 4, went down to a 3, put down 4 and 3. Just give us a sense of how you changed while you were doing this super simple tapping exercise. Simple but effective. Your body's keeping the score when you're thinking about the trauma in the world and the trauma in your life. Your body's keeping the score and you change the score. Literally. So post those new scores there in comments and let's see how you are being affected by doing these very, very simple EFT techniques. So as you are reflecting on this, we've covered the why. Why do this? If you get certified, as you learn these skills, you are helping others, making a huge difference in their lives, just the way Amanda made difference in the lives of those teenage girls. You're enjoying the freedom to work from you're enjoying the freedom to work from anywhere. Like one of our mentors, Amanda Wonderland, just moved to the Azores in Portugal. She's living there. Keeps on working as a clinical EFT practitioner. You control your own schedule. In one of our emails, I shared the story of Tina Tran, who, for her, what really works is to do her EFT sessions with clients late at night, so her days are free for her children and for her husband. Self-care, balancing work with the rest of your life, your family obligations, self-care, and your body. Making a great living, earning the income you deserve, making a difference in the lives of people and in the world. Seeing your own health improve. You just start to feel better, and I'll cover a few of the specifics from research on that in a moment. But there are many different reasons why EFT makes a difference in your life. That's the why. I'd like now to invite Kurt Anderson, our education director, to share the what you do to become a certified clinical EFT practitioner. Kurt, welcome.
Thank you, Dawson. Good to see you, everybody. I'm here to talk a little bit about, like Dawson mentioned, I'm the education director at EFT Universe. So it's my responsibility and my job to keep the educational resources very well organized and to be based upon the things that you need to become the best certified clinical EFT practitioner that you can possibly be, so that you can start experiencing the same types of stories that Dawson and Amanda were sharing with you about the impact that you can make on the world. And each module, each step in this certification is going to give you one of those tools that's going to put you in a position to be able to do that. And you can do it in less than 12 months. But let's get a little specific. I'm going to share my screen so I can show you a little bit about our course. All right. So like Dawson mentioned, you are going to go in this group as a cohort. So everybody will begin at the same time. We usually have 100 to 200 students begin in May, and then another 100 to 200 begin in November. So that would be 200 to 400 active students in your 12-month program. lots of people to help, lots of people for support, lots of people to build connections with, and lots of people to have shared accountability. You will be learning and experiencing new things, and you will have a group of people to share those things with. And let me tell you a little bit more about the things that you're going to be learning and that you're going to be experiencing. Now, our initial modules are online learning modules, which means that you will log into a course site and then you will read on certain topics and you will study certain things. And this is completely and totally self-paced. It can be done at any time. You are not required to be in front of a computer. You can do this whatever your schedule fits. And I did my certification while working full-time with 2 children under the age of 5. So there's logistics involved there, and I had to be creative about when I did my work, but I was able to do all of it and not have it interrupt my professional or my personal life in any really meaningful way. The first module is called The Genetics of Personal Transformation. It's based on Dawson's book, The Genie in Your Genes. This really covers the concept of epigenetics, how your outer environment impacts your biological expression. Now, that's not a shocker. Like that's not big news or anything. But what was big news, or what is big news, is that your inner environment, your thoughts and your feelings, also has a noticeable impact on your biological expression, on your physical self. And we want you to be able to understand that concept so you can talk to prospective clients and current clients as a practitioner, explaining how changing your thoughts and changing your emotions has scientifically validated physical effects on your overall health and well-being. I mean, what an amazing concept to be able to share. Then you'll move into their second online learning module, which is the practice of energy psychology and EFT. In this one, you get all the scientific background and research related to clinical EFT. You'll learn the background and some of the steps for all 48 of those clinical EFT techniques that are used in the research study that are referenced in the module as well. And it'll prepare you for future application. You'll start to learn about these things that you'll then experience in workshops, and then you'll be practicing with clients, and then eventually you'll be getting paying clients. So we make sure that we take you through the EFT manual written by Dawson that outlines all those techniques, and we guide you through a deep understanding of that in Module 2. Now, modules 3 and 4 are also online learning modules, and I just want to call attention to anybody who's concerned about not having a background in the mental health field. This is why we have these 2 modules, is to give you some background knowledge so you can feel confident working in this space and working with other mental health professionals. In our professional ethics module, you learn the legal and ethical boundaries of energy healing professionals. Very important topic, so you know exactly where you are, and you can have a practice that is within the scope of your practice that is perfectly legal and safe for you. You can learn how to have healthy, vibrant relationships with your clients that fuel both you and them. And it helps you to learn how to work with and interact with doctors, psychiatrists, and any other medical health professionals in a professional manner. When you get into Module 4, so many of our students end up using EFT in combination with coaching, coaching is a very large and expanding field in the current economic landscape. You start to learn in the psychology of coaching more about the science of personal change. You learn about different questioning approaches to work with clients to help them bring up their issues related to personal change. You learn how to combine EFT with other coaching for a variety of clients, those who are struggling with change and just can't seem to get going on something, but also those who are seeking peak states, optimal performance, pushing themselves to higher levels. You can use all the information in here and combine it with EFT to really make your sessions more than just clinical EFT sessions. You're really learning how to make sessions personal change sessions. And how incredibly valuable is that? After you move through that, then you start to get into my personal favorite work, which is Module 5. And Module 5 is the art of delivery. Now, in this module, you're going to be assigned a one-on-one mentor, an expert clinical EFT practitioner who is going to meet with you, speak with you, guide you, read your session notes, answer your questions, provide you with strength-based feedback on your sessions. What are you doing well, and how can you make your sessions even better? I challenge you to find another EFT certification program that is going to put you in contact with a one-on-one with an expert in the field to personalize your educational experience. It is so very, very valuable. Now, we have some questions in the chat about what are some personal experiences? What's it like to be an EFT practitioner? And I'm just going to go briefly through the different components of the art of delivery and share a little story that's happened to me this month. All right, so I didn't think about this too much in advance, but these are just people I have met this month. Now, I also work separately as a practitioner myself, so this is all personal stories from people that I've worked with very, very recently. In our first module, we work on the fundamentals of clinical EFT. So how do you work on, what does clinical EFT really work on? And it really works really well when you get into specific things that have happened to people, specific events. I was working with a man on the relationship between his wife, and he was very, very closed off. We did a bunch of tapping, and all of a sudden he got this memory from first grade come up about all the kids making fun of him for crying. And at that point in time, he shut down his emotions because it wasn't safe, and he kept them shut for 50 years. After that session, he cried, he felt better, he felt better, and he went and he spoke to his wife, and he reported back to me that he never felt more connected to her. Just by getting to a specific event, something you will learn as well. In our second module, we have gentle techniques for trauma, where we learn how to work with people who have experienced difficult events in their life, and we learn how to do that gently and safely so they feel supported. I worked with a woman last night who had had a gigantic fight with her husband, and it brought up memories of her father from her past and the things that had happened to her. And she was in a rough spot. But because I had all these gentle techniques, I was able to effortlessly guide her into tapping and get her energy moving and get her system calmed. And by the end of it, she had a whole new perspective on where she was going to go and the strength that she actually possessed. You will be able to do that too. In mentoring 3, we work on professional practice. So we, as practitioners, we're like, you know what do people really pay for? What are the sessions that people really want to sign up for packages and work through things? And we make sure that you have experience in each of those areas. So when someone says, do you know how to use EFT for goal setting? You can say, well, absolutely, I know how to use EFT for goal setting. I've done that before, you know? And so I was working last week with an entrepreneur who is having a lot of success in her business, but that success has brought on new challenges, bigger issues, more visibility, and the stress that was going along with that. But I was able to tap that stuff down with her, and she was able to realize that this is exactly what she wanted. This is what she signed up for. So she wanted that stress, and she only realized it after she was able to process that stress. And I told her to go out and get some more and come back, right? She doesn't want a stress-free life. She wants it, but she wants to be able to release it. And because I had been through the mentoring, I was able to help her do that, and so will you. We go back to our final online learning module, which is energy, trauma, and healing, which helps you learn how to be confident working with psychological trauma and PTSD, and how to work with traumatized clients using energy work. And then finally, I want to just highlight again all the live opportunities you have to interact with people who are doing the same thing you are. We have a 4-day workshop where you learn the professional skills necessary to be a clinical EFT practitioner. That's 4 full days of interaction, tapping with, talking with, and interacting with other people who are doing EFT. We have a 2-day practicum where you're practicing EFT and refining your skills. And then we have 2 monthly calls every month on an EFT topic that give you additional opportunities to interact that are outside of those workshops. You will be around people that you relate to, that you're learning with, and you will have community when you join this certification program. So what's it like to be a practitioner? It's pretty awesome. And we are here to help make sure that you can have those same types of experience that Dawson mentioned, that I shared, and that Amanda shared.
Kurt, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And that is the what. And as you see, it's a highly structured program. We make sure you learn what you need to learn. And before I ask Amanda to join us again for a review of the payment plans and the costs, I want to just mention the bonus you get, which is shifts in your health. And this was a really cool study. It was done at a retreat center. We had a team of scientists there, and they were studying the physiology of everyone there. Like, they're taking blood pressure measurements, and they're taking samples of saliva and cortisol and all of these other metrics. And then they were measuring how people did over the course of taking the same workshop you'll be taking as part of certification. And the results were absolutely amazing when they got the results back from the lab. This was published in a really important medical journal called the Journal of Integrative Medicine. And they found that over the course of that week, people had an 8% drop in blood pressure, one of the primary markers of health. They had a 37% reduction in cortisol levels. Baseline cortisol dropped 37% in only a week. They found that people had an 8% reduction in heart rate. And your heart rate is one critical measure of your well-being. When all the bad stuff went down, the good stuff went up. And what went up was immune markers, immunoglobulins. They found a 113% rise in immunoglobulins. So you look the study up. Donna Bach, B-A-C-H, was the primary investigator. Just look it up on PubMed, Bach et al., about clinical EFT. That's what you get by way of improvements to your own health. So Amanda, I'd appreciate you sharing the costs and payment plans with us now. We try and make this affordable and easy for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's jump into it. And real quick, I just want to say thank you, Dawson. It's always such a gift to learn directly from you, and Kurt, you as well, to get to hear your stories and to do tapping with you. For those of you on here, if you don't know, Dawson hasn't had a personal practice of tapping clients for years now due to the demands on his time. So it's pretty much friends and family and EFTU students that get to tap with him at all anymore. You couldn't even pay 10 grand to get to tap. But I'm so glad that you got to do it with us here tonight. Hopefully you're starting to see why this is the most popular EFT certification program. I do have one quick question for you. Do you buy courses and then never complete them? It's only partially your fault. There's actually been studies done on this, and it depends on how the courses are laid out and do they set you up for success. The percentage of people who graduate college who begin is actually really small. And we at EFTU reach 4 times that figure. So I hope that would assist if any of you are concerned about, oh, but I'm like this person who just buys things and I never finish. It's not all your fault, and we help you a lot with that. We're going to drop the link to enrollment in the chat, so you can look for that if you don't already have it. And one other quick thing before I get to prices, as a thank you for being here with us tonight, because we want you to know that we absolutely recognize the connection and the building and the importance of it is to have you be a part of this. And so just for being here tonight, if you enroll before midnight tonight, we're going to give you a gift called Manifest More with Meditation. And that will be added to your account after your enrollment is processed. So it'll be two separate like emails and accesses that you receive. What it is it's an entire course based off of a workshop that Dawson no longer does. So you can't get this anywhere else. We don't even sell it. It is clinically proven, 7 meditations that incorporate the effects that have been clinically proven on your body, on your cells, for your energy, for your focus. It attunes you to optimum health and mindset. So it just pairs beautifully with certification. If we were to sell it, it would be great value, hundreds of dollars. But like I said, you can't even purchase this. The only way to get it is if you enroll by midnight tonight, then it is our gift to you. Okay, let's get into the dollars. The cost of Ultimate EFT certification is $4,999. Now, the best value for you is to pay that all at once, if you're able to. If not, don't worry, I'm going to give you multiple options. But then that is the dollar amount, that's it, and nothing else added to that. The most popular payment option outside of all at once is 2 payments, and we just cut it right in half. There's nothing added onto that. So it is that same number cut in half, just spread over 30 days from each other. So we charge half, 30 days later, we charge the other half. You're good, you're done, that's it. Those are by far the best value, which is why they're the most popular. But we also have monthly payments. The monthly payment is a little bit higher because we have some cost associated with, keeping track of that and the submission through the what's the word? The software. There it is. The software that we use to keep track of and process those payments. That comes out to $459 a month, which totals out to $5,508. And this is for the entire year. Like everything that you've heard is included in that. So if you pay in full or in half, or half and then half in 30 days, then you save over $500 from what you would get monthly, which is kind of like getting a whole month of payments for free. And all of those options are laid out for you on the enrollment page. You don't have to try and memorize what I just said, because I stuck things in there, but it's all laid out for you. You can take a look at that. If you have any questions that doesn't cover, please schedule a call with one of our admission advisors, and we will happily get answers for you. We do accept all major credit cards. I'm talking Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover, JCB, Diners Club, China Union Pay, debit card, and PayPal. I'm going to have to find all of those later, but that was fun. Don't send cash. We haven't found out how to do it with cash yet, but if you are interested, we will find a way.
Oh, Amanda, thank you so very much for sharing with us. And if you think about it, I mean, just the mentoring alone, you work one-on-one with a mentor, you're getting access to all of these classes, live classes you're going to take with me, with other people, skills practice calls, a year of support, this amazing community. So it's just remarkable. You get all of that for that $5,000 price or a payment plan. I'm going to make sure we answer all of our questions. There are a few more here, and Kurt, I'd like to have you answer some of them as well. And before that, I'd love to have some of our people in certification share with you for the next few minutes, because they will tell you the story, what it's like to be part of this amazing community and take this amazing program. So these are real people doing this and what they have to share.
Hi, I'm Diane, and I am also in the Clinical Practitioner Training course. And I'm very pleased to be here to learn about myself and practice techniques for my own health and well-being, as well as begin my journey healing others. And it's wonderful to be here and meet so many nice people. Really enjoyed it and highly recommend the class, the course, and EFT.
All my life, I've been wondering if there was anything that could help people overcome the damages they suffered in childhood. The first time I've heard of a technique that claims to be able to address it. So that's like miraculous to me. So that's all I have to say, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, very exciting.
My life has changed through the work of listening and being in the workshop. I'm in the certification program. And like I said, I was planning to bring this back to my agency, but I found a whole other piece to myself. The fact that I'm giving this testimonial today is something I would have never have done or been able to do prior to this workshop. The first day here, I had so much anxiety. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't really concentrate. It's been absolutely amazing what I've learned about energy psychology, EFT, and really the importance of bringing this to everyone out in the world. It's an amazing technique. It's an amazing program.
I'm very much an introvert, and yet everyone here is so wonderful. And with the processes we've gone through, I've really felt myself opening up and really connecting with people. So that's been a big aha and a big, big, big gift. I'm in the certification program. I really need to concentrate on self-work first in order to be able to hold the space that I'm going to need for my clients. So that's another wonderful gift.
My name is Leslie Stott. I need to start tapping, but it is emotional for me because there's a lot of love here. And you can feel it from the other people that are here taking the course. And that's been very nurturing for me. I love that Dawson's course is so well put together.
Hello, I'm JT, also known as John Toth. My certification path. This is the best investment of my time and treasure and talent. I've been involved in spiritual and personal development growth actually from the time that I was a youngster. EFT has already helped me break up some patterns that I've had repeatedly over most of my life. So I'm very grateful and encourage you to seriously consider it.
I'm Jackie, and I'm an executive and organizational coach. And when I found EFT tapping, I got to complete transformational issues that I've been dealing with for 17, 18 years. This is a perfect integration to take to my clients that will transform who executives and managers could be for their organizations and for the world, and what they can deliver as people who are bringing industry into life in a mindful, sustainable, life-giving way, rather than the one-sided making money out of business that's been traditional. And I just have this love for this work that I couldn't even have imagined, and just been wondering where it's been all my life. Taking EFT to executives and organizations and having people be for each other. Like, it's the we-ness of organizations. It's the taking care of Earth. We've got to be sustainable to have our planet survive. EFT opening up our brains to just envision who the we-ness, the oneness is in the world.
Hi, my name's Susan. I really believe that this is such a positive tool for transformation. It enables you to go to deep issues that you may have worked through for therapy intellectually, but that you haven't been able to get out of your system. I really, want to encourage anybody that wants to change themselves, get rid of old stuff, get rid of all those thoughts in your head, process them through, and go through the process. It's not just about learning a skill set that you can turn into something that could be economically viable as a profession, but you're transforming yourself.
Well, as you can see, we have angels, amazing people in our certification program. And as Leslie Stott said, the love here is palpable, tangible, and wonderful to have in your life, and to learn to not just experience, but to share with other people. Kurt, please do go and answer those questions we've got about certification program there in the comments box, and then we will wrap up our time together here.
All right, no problem, Dawson. We have Nicole asking, how many hours per week of a commitment is this for most people? And the answer to that is about 4 to 6 if you're going to finish in the 12 months. How reasonable is it to complete that while also working full time? Well, I mentioned that I did it. The vast majority of our students are full-time professionals who work this in. We stagger our live call times so that you will be able to attend. If you can't attend, we post replays. We do workshops over weekends. We do everything we can to make the full-time working professional this course accessible for them. And like I said, probably 85–90% of our students are full-time working professionals. So it is completely and totally reasonable, and you're able to do it while working full-time. I have another question from Natasha. Is EFT considered a somatic therapy? Well, if we define somatic therapy as a body-centered therapy in which the mind and the body are intimately connected, then I would say absolutely EFT is, because we're working with our thoughts, we're working with our feelings, and then we're tapping on our bodies to send signals of safety to our nervous system, which then helps clear those issues, not only just mentally, cognitively, but also somatically and physically. And that, I believe, is the supercharged power of EFT, is getting it into the body. Now, comparing it to other somatic therapies, I'm not going to do that because I don't feel like I'm an expert in those somatic therapies. I do EFT. So that's the one I'll stick to my lane, so that way I make sure I provide reasonable answers. All right, does the certification, Natasha asked another one. Does the certification with EFTU provide a framework for practice that must be adhered to, or is there flexibility in the way the practitioner can apply his or her knowledge and experience? Okay, when you're going through certification, there are certain techniques and certain ways in which to do things that we are going to train you to do, because they have been clinically proven to work. And we want to make sure that you come out with those skills. Now, when you use those skills, how you apply those skills, even within mentoring, has flexibility. Everything starts with the client. And so we're going to teach you the fundamentals, but then you're going to meet that person where they are. So there is absolute flexibility in this, and you can integrate it with so many things once you are fundamentally sound in the techniques, and you can take it to so many places. And those are the 3 questions I see, Dawson. So I think that's it. So I'm going to turn it over to you, I think.
Thank you so much, Kurt. I appreciate that. And I would add one thing, Natasha, and that is that, is it this rigid protocol we follow? Is it flexible? And the answer is it's both. Initially, we're training you in techniques, and you will be sometimes very mechanically just applying those techniques initially, early on in your EFT career. Later on, as you gain confidence, you work with lots of people, like a language you become fluent in, it's much more fluid. And so the difference between a session done by a trainee practitioner and an experienced practitioner will look quite different, and we get much more flexible as we learn the techniques and integrate them into our skill set. So our time together is almost at an end, and I want to challenge you now to think 5 years ahead. Think 5 years from now about your life. You're going to do this or you're not. You're going to decide, I'm not going to do this, or you're going to decide, I'm going to go ahead and talk to that admissions advisor. I'm going to join this class. I'm going to work with these people. I'm going to be part of this community. And that is a big choice. I know it's really never easy to make a big choice like that. It's a year of your time. It's money. It's a commitment. And is it time to do that? But think of the cost of not doing it. How will your life look in 5 years if you say no to this opportunity? Think about that. What will your career look like in 5 years? What will your health look like if you don't have that 8% drop in blood pressure, that doubling of immunity, that 37% drop in cortisol? What will your health look like in 5 years if you say no, if you pass it by? I know it's confusing. I know it's a noisy world, and there are lots of messages coming at you every day. But think for a moment about that cost of not doing it, of not moving with the process now. So I invite you to really get on the phone, talk to an admissions advisor, and think about working this into your life and joining not just this group of people learning the training, but also this group of people making a difference in the world. We are committed to seeing the world change. As you've heard about Kaiser and about the Veterans Administration, we've helped make change in the world already. That change is accelerating as EFT grows in popularity. So I'm so grateful to have shared this time with you, to have been part of our community. If you have other questions, just go ahead and make one of those appointments with an admissions advisor. Make sure you act before May 1st, the deadline for enrollment. Enroll before the deadline so you can start with our very first event, which will be the following week, which will be an inaugural call that I, Kurt, and others will be sharing with you. It's been a joy to connect with you. I know our journey will bring us together again in whatever form. I'm honored that you've been with us sharing this time together in this forum, and I wish you every blessing on your healing journey. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, what a joy.